Welcome. I'm Rebecca E. Schmook of The Right Author, and my question to you is, writer's block, is it myth or is it real? So if you think it's myth, go ahead and type myth in the comments, and if you think it's real, type real in the comments. I do want to hear your thoughts before I delve into it, so even if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and hit those comments so you know where you are when we started and where you are when we finish. All right, I am a words girl, not a numbers person at all, and anyone who knows me knows that. But I would say out of all the writing communities I belong to, over 65% of the posts are about writer's block. And inevitably, somebody will come along and say, writer's block isn't real. And when I see that, it makes me cringe and it breaks my heart just a little bit, actually more than a little bit, because that is very dismissive and demoralizing. As writers, we're already vulnerable. And so imagine somebody's reaching out their hand saying, I need help. And you go, no, you don't. Your problem isn't real. But it is. It's just not real in the way you might think of it. It's one of those nuanced topics in the craft of writing. Writer's block is not the problem. It's not the cause. It's a symptom. And so that's why sometimes people struggle with if it's real, if they have it. Some people will say they've never had it, and they actually have and just don't know it because it's a symptom and they're not seeing it in that way. So if you think of writer's block as a check engine light, your check engine light comes on, your car still works, but you have to check under the hood. Could be a faulty message, could be a faulty error, could be something wrong with the engine. You don't know until you check under the hood. So think of writer's block as a red flag, okay? It's something that you're going to encounter, and it could be different reasons for different times. And there's a couple of core elements over the decades that I've been working with writers that it seems to boil down to. So there's 3 of them. And there are other reasons as well, but there are 3 core elements that it boils down to. And I'm going to jump into the big one first because it's the most prevalent from what I've seen. Fear. Okay? Fear. That is why your page is blank. That is why you're stuck partially through. That is why you're not getting the sparks firing. It is fear. Writing those words is scary, and you are a maladaptive perfectionist. It is not a good thing. Perfection is not what it sounds like. It's not great to be perfect. That perfection is causing paralysis. So you're afraid to put those words on the page because it's going to make it real. Putting those words there, it's in ink now or on digital, but it's there. So you are making it real. That means you are going to have to put more words on the page. And as you do that, your imposter syndrome is going to start to rear its head. And then the inner critic is going to come out to play. And when you finish putting those words on the page, you're going to need validation. You are going to need somebody to come along and read those words. And that's going to open you up to constructive criticism and potential harsh feedback or toxic positivity. And all of these things are scary, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And that fear is going to keep you from committing to it because the fear of the unknown is always worse than the fear of the known. So that blank page is safe. And you can't be safe as a writer. You need to go ahead and put those words out there. So you need to give yourself permission to have that messy draft, to go ahead and put those words down knowing they're not perfect. And I know some people will say, well, you have to write perfect. It can't be garbage. You can't write garbage. Right. Put the words on the page because Editing is when you're going to come in and make them perfect, or as perfect as we can, because perfectionism is a problem. But you don't want to be frozen. And so get the words on the page however you can do it. And you can use prompts to do it. It's a great way to get sparks going. But you can get words on the page using prompts. You can, if you're stuck, you can use different questions to get it going. I did a YouTube video on that. And watch that. It's only like 4 minutes long. But the idea is to just get it done. You have to move forward. So you need to give yourself permission to write that messy draft. Even if you're going to scrap a scene later, put the scene down. Just get it done. Just move on to where you can put the words on the page. Now, another reason you might be suffering from writer's block, another symptom of it, is actually lack of direction. Lack of direction is a big problem because if you're a planner or a pantster or a planster, a hybrid, it doesn't matter. You still need some kind of a focus. And if you're new to those terms, they started years ago. I think NaNoWriMo started them. But a planner is someone who's going to outline everything out. They're going to have their chapters detailed or at least summarized. Pantster is just winging it. They're just going to write and let their characters, drive the story. That's me. I do that. And then you get the plansters who do a little bit of both. You can change in between. You don't have to always be a planner or always be a pantster or sometimes combine them and do the hybrid. It's not going to matter. You are going to do it however it comes to you naturally at that point. The very first novel I wrote, oh gosh, that was over 10 years ago, but I was coming at it from a short story writer. I had been poet and short story writer my whole life, and it was I wanted to write a novel. I decided I was going to be a novelist, and I thought, how am I going to do this? I've never written a novel. It's a lot of words. And so I actually did outline that one. It was a historical fiction, and so outlining it kind of made sense too. And it's the very last time I used an outline. It worked. It was great. And I haven't done an outline since because I'm just by nature a pantster. But even if you're a pantster, you still need to have direction. And so you can create a mini outline of sorts. It doesn't have to be chapter by chapter, just a couple of bullet points, an idea of where you're going. You could write something as simple as character A meets character B, and boom, you have a sense of direction. You now know that these two characters need to meet. So you have to introduce them. Where are they meeting? What's the scene? What's the setting? And so you already now have a sense of direction. So you can do it that way. And again, it doesn't have to be detailed out. The last reason I want to talk about for that writer's block symptom is actually kind of the opposite. The first two I talked about, fear and lack of direction, are mindset. This one's not really mindset as much as it's physical. It's energy. And it's burnout, okay? Burnout is real. You have put everything into it. You've been throwing all your creativity into it. You're focusing on it constantly. You're writing a lot. And now you can't write anything. And you got the blank page because you're burned out. This does not mean, and this is very scary for a lot of writers, when they get to this point, they feel like they're done as an artist. Their creativity is over. And that is not true. You are not tapped out. You are just overwhelmed. You have burned yourself out. And you need to just step back and give yourself that break, okay? Once again, this is about giving yourself permission to sit back and relax and take a breather from the writing. Read a book, take a walk, bake some cookies, try quilting, learn how to play an instrument. Just give yourself some time away, and it's okay. I know a lot of people say, Harper Lee put everything into Kill a Mockingbird, and that's why she only wrote one book. There was nothing left for her to give. I don't really agree with that, because I think when you're a writer, when you're at the core passion as a writer, your creativity is in there, you are always going to have that. You just need to give yourself the permission to step away from it, and also the permission to be imperfect. And we're going to go back to that fear again. I mean, if I could have a conversation with Harper right now, I would love to, because I would love to ask her if she was afraid. Because I think when you create something so great, you set yourself up for failure by thinking you always have to meet that level. And so then you don't meet that level. Whereas you can produce great work after great work after great work. But if you're afraid of producing that great work, you're going to have that blank page. And once again, you can say you're a writer with that blank page if you're not writing, but when you start writing, you have to confront yourself. Okay? So it all kind of ties together, and it is all part of writer's block. Because again, it's the red flag. So if you can sit there and analyze why you're feeling what you're feeling, if you are struggling with getting words on the page, and it's not just always the blank page in the beginning, it's the blank page in the middle. So sometimes you are halfway through, and I tell you, the halfway point is tricky for a lot of writers. They get a lot of stagnant people right in that midpoint. It's a very common problem. And sometimes it goes back to fear. You're getting, you're halfway done now. It's also harder to push past your climax and your resolution. And it also can just simply be something wrong with the story itself. And this is where there's something wrong with the engine. Okay, so when you've got that blank page and you're midway through, check under the hood. Is it a problem with the engine? Go back, check your story, read through it. If you haven't created an outline, you might want to try creating a reverse outline at this point, just to make sure all of your beats are being met and the flow is correct. And if you're stuck because you're not sure where to go with the plot, reading through what you have so far is also a good way to find some seeds of foreshadowing that you may or may not have put in deliberately, and it's a good time to bring them to the forefront. So there are ways around it, as long as you know why you're dealing with it. Now, if you want to learn more about writer's block, if you are interested in a community where we will be talking about that and resources and constructive criticism with actionable feedback, live access to expert mentor and guest experts, and just community without banning and censorship and who gets to see what. There's no algorithms here. It is a platform off of any of these social media ones, and it's mine, and it's my writing community called the Writer's Forge, and it's opening really, really soon. So make sure, if you're not already on the wait list, that you get on the wait list, because the only people who are going to find out about opening date and what's coming is going to be on the wait list. So you're going to get an email if you're there, and that's how you're going to find out the opening date and the exclusive benefits you're going to get and the special secret price. Shh. All right. I will see you there. Go ahead and get registered. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment, and I can come back and discuss this more with you. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Forge ahead, wordsmiths.